Raiden Flux has always been a favourite for Arc Hunters, but now, with the release of Arc 3.0, this exotic chest armour for Hunters becomes even better and even more deadly. Today I'm going to put together a Hunter Arc 3.0 build. It's going to allow you to tear through enemies like a hot knife through butter. So I'm going to go through the Arc 3.0 setup, the aspects, the fragments, the weapons, the exotic armour, and also the mods. So you can build an electrifying Arc Hunter in Destiny 2. Well, if you're new around here or find this useful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below for all the latest Destiny 2 content and turn on notifications by hitting that bell. And roughly 98% of viewers who watch this week in video games aren't subscribed, so subscribe today and never miss an update. Well, let's dive right into this build, and first of all check out the Arc 3.0 setup. So for my super, I'm using Arc Staff. For my grenade, using a skip grenade. For my melee, combination blow. And my class ability, I'm using Gambler's Dodge. For my aspects, I'm using Flow State, so defeating a jolted target makes you amplified. While you are amplified, your dodge recharges more quickly and you're more resilient while dodging, and your reload speed is greatly increased. Then we got Lethal Current, so after dodging, your next melee attack has increased lunge range, jolts the target and creates a damaging aftershock, and damaging any jolted target with the melee attack also blinds them. For the fragments, I'm using Spark of Shock, so your arc grenade jolts targets. Using Spark of Ion, so defeating a jolted target creates an ionic trace. Spark of Recharge, so while critically wounded, your melee and grenade energy regenerate more quickly. And Spark of Resistance, so when surrounded by enemies, the player has increased damage resistance. For my exotic armour, I'm using Raiden Flux. This is an exotic hunter chest armour with the perk Synapse Junction, so quick successive attacks with Arc Staff increase the damage output and the duration. You also get increased resilience, and you can get this one from Xur or from Nightfalls as an exotic drop. Next up, let's have a look at the weapons. So the key things with the weapon is to have the Demolitionist perk. That is where kills with the weapon generate grenade energy, and activating your grenade ability reloads the weapon from reserves. But the bit we are really focused on is where kills with the weapon generate grenade energy. Moving on, let's have a look at the weapons. So in my kinetic slot, using Riptide, is a legendary fusion rifle that deals stasis damage with a rapid fire frame, meaning it's got deeper ammo reserves. You want to have a look for one with auto-loading holster and chill clip. That is a decent roll. Direct hits with the top half of the magazine cause a detonation that slows nearby targets, and that is really, really useful in your kinetic slot. In the energy slot, I'm using Insidious, so here is where my Demolitionist perk comes in, plus this is an arc weapon. So it's a legendary energy pulse rifle that has an aggressive burst, meaning it's a hard-hitting 4-burst fire, and Insidious is fairly unique among pulse rifles given it's an aggressive frame with a 4-round burst rather than 3. So as I mentioned before, it's an arc weapon, therefore very good for arc builds. I've also got one with Demolitionist and Adrenaline Junkie, which is perfect for this build. Also, really, really good for unstoppable champions this season. So you can get this one from the Veil the Disciple raid on Savathun's Throne World, but you do need the Witch Queen expansion. And if you don't have this one, then any arc energy weapon with Demolitionist is probably just fine. Just make sure you can match it up to champion mods, and that's going to help you out in in-game PvE content. In the power slot, I'm using Anarchy. So Anarchy is an exotic power grenade launcher that features arc traps. These are grenades that stick to surfaces and chain arc bolts to other mines. It's great for DPS, going to help you take down dungeon and raid bosses in no time at all. So it's definitely a good one to pick up. You can get this one from the Monuments to Lost Lights in the tower in exchange for materials. So Anarchy once dominated the game for a really, really long period of time, but it was nerfed in Season 15. But again, it has grown in popularity given the emergence of Arc 3.0. Next up, looking at the mods, so Elemental Ordnance, defeating a combatant with a grenade spawns an Elemental Well that matches your subclass energy type. Bountiful Wells, so Elemental Well mods that cause you to spawn Elemental Wells now stack, spawning additional wells for each additional copy of the mod you have equipped. I'm using Font of Wisdom, so picking up an Elemental Well that matches your subclass energy type grants you a temporary, significant increase to your intellect, improving the recharge rate of your super. Then I'm using an artifact mod, so Lightning Strikes twice after throwing an arc grenade, gain increased grenade recharge for a short time, and arc final blows extend the duration of this effect. Also, I'm using Unstoppable Pulse Rifle because of the Champions mods this season, and if you want to use an anti-barrier weapon, you can throw on Anti-Barrier Scout Rifle, also Anti-Barrier Auto Rifle, and you could probably swap something out in your kinetic slot. Okay, so next up, let's have a look at the gameplay loop you want with the build. So we're going to throw grenades, generate elemental wells, power up that super, unleash your super, throw more grenades, jolt targets and regenerate grenade and super energy, and then rinse and repeat. Well, the build has two main themes, so grenades and supers. The build is focused around the exotic armor Raiden Flux, and that's got the perk Synapse Junctions, and that is where quick successive attacks with the arc staff increase its damage output and the duration. This means as long as you are getting kills, then your super is going to last longer, and you're going to be able to cause more damage to all enemies that get in your path. I'm also using Font of Wisdom here to help generate super energy really quickly, so we can repeat that all over again with Font of Wisdom. So this is a buff acquired when you pick up an elemental well that matches your subclass element. Therefore, I am using an arc subclass, and I want to be generating arc elemental wells, and that is going to boost intellect stats, meaning faster super regeneration, therefore taking advantage of Synapse Junctions on Raiden Flux. Next, let's have a look at the grenades. I'm using skip grenades here in the build, given you can throw them in the general direction of your enemies. It's going to split into multiple projectiles, then track the targets. So Lightning Strikes Twice is an artifact mod that helps us regenerate grenade energy very quickly. Plus we've got Spark of Recharge through Arc 3.0, meaning when we're wounded, grenade energy is going to increase again. Both of these things together should mean very fast grenades, meaning you can throw more, causing more damage. Arc grenades also jolt targets, meaning you're going to be able to chain lightning from those jolted targets. Then by defeating a jolted target, we're going to generate an ionic trace, once again helping get our grenade energy back nice and quickly, which is going to make for a nice gameplay loop. Also using arc weapons here in the energy and the power slot, so my arc energy pulse rifle has demolitionist on it, which again is going to help generate grenade energy nice and quickly. Well, let me know in the comments what you think of the build, and let me know if you got any improvements. Well, that is it for this guide for this Hunter Arc 3.0 build with Raiden Flux in Destiny 2. And as always, thank you so much for watching and listening. For more Destiny 2 content like this, hit that subscribe button down below and subscribe to This Week in Video Games. Or you can check me out on Twitter at TWIVG Podcast. If you enjoyed this video, found it useful, liking and sharing the video would really help me out. Otherwise, check out the other videos on the channel. Well, thanks again. I'll see you soon.
Good job, hero. Watching you snatch up that loot reminded me of Gambit. I never get tired of watching people bank those motes.